In today's video, I'll be talking about step 6 in our home buying guide process. Now, remember, this is a video in a whole series. We also have a guide that has every step listed out, and you can get that either by visiting our website or just by clicking on the link in the description below. So if you're buying a home in Oregon, you know that you're going to need to get a mortgage unless you're buying a home with cash. But the number one mistake most people make when they're first starting to search for homes is not getting pre-approved for a loan. So why is this such a big deal? What is a pre-approval? Why does it matter so much? And how do you even go about getting pre-approved? Well, keep watching this video and you'll find out. So first, what is pre-approval? Well, a pre-approval is a letter from a lender saying how much they're willing to lend you. This is based primarily on your credit, your debt-to-income ratio, and your down payment. It shows sellers that you're serious about buying and that you actually have the ability to do so. So why is a pre-approval letter so important? Like I said, being pre-approved shows the seller of a home that you're actually able to buy the home. No seller wants to take their home off the market by going under contract with someone who can't even afford the home. And so in Oregon, most sellers won't even accept an offer unless there's a pre-approval letter with it. Second, a pre-approval letter gives you an idea of how much you can afford on a home. Now, you may think you have a certain number in mind based on your budget and what you think you can spend on a home, but there's very strict lending guidelines that only allow you to use certain kinds of income. So for example, you may be a small business owner, you may make about $200,000 a year, but the lender's gonna look at your past 24 months of history. If you're self-employed, they're gonna look at your expenses, they're gonna look at your tax return, they're gonna potentially say, okay, well, you may make this much, but we can only qualify you for like maybe 50 or 70,000, or they may not be able to qualify you at all based on what your income is. So it's really important to go through the process of being pre-approved so that you know exactly what you can qualify for, how much of your income can be used. Now, this is really important because if you don't go through this process, then you may end up looking at homes that are completely outside of your price range, which wastes everyone's time and is really disappointing when you think there's this home that's your dream home, you go to make an offer on it and then rush trying to get pre-approved and going through all that process, only to find out we can't qualify for them. I'm pretty adamant about this. I've seen enough buyers where they go to buy a home and they're trying to rush through the pre-approval process, as they're writing an offer. It just doesn't work well. It leads to a lot of frustration, a lot of disappointment. And so I typically won't even work with a buyer showing them homes until they're pre-approved. Now, I have some minor exceptions to this, but as a general rule, you have to be pre-approved before looking at homes. It's just that simple. Okay, so how do you get pre-approved? Well, I mentioned in the last video about working with a lender. Really, that's your next step. Is you talk to a lender, you provide them with information so that they can look at your assets, your debts, run your credit, verify your income, potentially look at tax returns, things like this. In our home buyer guide, we have kind of a whole list of things that a lender may need to look at for the whole pre-approval process. Up front, they're going to need less just to give you a certain number, but later on as they go through what's called underwriting, it's a whole other issue. They'll need a lot more information, need to verify a lot more things. The pre-approval is just kind of simply making sure that in general, you're qualified for the home. Once the lender goes through all of this and they pre-approve you, you'll get a letter or really just a PDF saying how much you qualify for, and that is the letter that you can give to a seller. Often, these letters are customized for whatever offer you're submitting. Sometimes people don't want everyone to know that they're qualified for $800,000-$900,000 if they're buying a home that's only $500,000. So they'll usually just say whatever their offer price is, that's what they're qualified or pre-approved for. So knowing all those things, if you're ready to get pre-approved, the next step would be talking to a lender. Now, again, you can check out that video or you can reach out to me. I'd be happy to connect you with a lender who would take great care of you. If you haven't already, make sure that you check out the other videos in this series and download our buyer guide, which has a ton of great information that will prepare you for buying a home. Well, go ahead and check out those videos and I'll catch you in whichever one you decide to watch.